This is From Worry to Wealth, the podcast that shatters the myths and mystique surrounding wealth creation. As students, our schools and universities often neglect the crucial education on the core financial principles. I'm Ben Lyons. I'm a business owner, investor, entrepreneur, and author, and I'm joined by my business partner, Fink. And together, we're here to inspire your journey towards improving your financial self. In a world buzzing with advice on the behaviors and mindset to become wealthy, we'll share proven processes tried and tested by our network of successful collaborators. So get ready to move past worry and move towards wealth and your improved financial self. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast episode of From Worry to Wealth. I am Ben Lyons, and I am really excited to be here with my co-host, Mr. Fink.
Hey, everybody.
Take a bow, Alex. We are really excited to be with you today. We have a special guest, really a wonderful guest, wonderful friend, a guy I met a couple years ago, right? He was kind enough to come to one of my seminars, listen to me speak. I gave him some books and...
So wait a second. He came to one of your seminars and he still wants to talk to you afterwards?
Can you believe that?
That's amazing. Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah, he must be very...
And I'm going to butcher his name, but he is a medical doctor, and I'm going to let him talk all about his background. And he comes from a great place, great heart. And first, I'm going to butcher his name, but it's Dr. Arubuola Fisayo, or Fisayo Arubuola.
Fisayo Arubuola.
Right. We call him Fisayo, so that's why I don't think the Arubuola, right?
Yeah, that's
Fisayo.
fine.
Now, why do you go by only Fisayo?
So Olufisayo is the full name. Olu is a shortening form for Olua, which is for God. So typically growing up, they will name a child based on circumstances surrounding his birth. So Olufisayo, or to be really detailed, Olufisayo me, meant that my parents felt that God had really blessed them in a special way when I was born.
Wow.
That is
Why
awesome.
Weren't you named like that, Ben? Or do you think your parents felt
I
differently?
think my parents felt totally different
I feel
about
the same
me.
way. Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, geez, what is like, oh, geez?" In
I know.
Do you have,
country.
do you have a name for that as well?
So the names always tell stories.
Yes.
Our names always tell stories. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, were your brothers and sisters named similarly?
Absolutely. So I have a brother going by Oluwafemi, God loves me. Oluwarotimi, God was with me. So
Oh, that's great.
Then my sister
That's
is
so cool.
Oluwabumi. So it's Olua.
Oh.
So, and the beauty of Nigeria is even before you meet someone, from their names, you could tell what part of the country they are from.
Really? Oh.
Absolutely.
Explain
Absolutely.
that. Like, how would we know what part of the country you were from?
So look at Nigeria as a country that was typically divided into three parts by two rivers that met and form a tributary. So we have the north, the southwest, and the southeast. So I'm from the southwest. So if you tell anybody who knows about Nigeria my name, they will tell you it's from the southwest.
Wow.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Now, is that a good part of town or a bad part of town?
Well, it's really nothing about whether it is good or bad. Nigeria is a very interesting country. It's got about 250 tribes that have nothing in common. So we're divided into the north, which typically a lot of the people there are Muslim. And then the southwest, typically the people there like education. The southeast, the Igbos, they like business, commerce. So it's a very interesting country.
Interesting.
And so talking about these three different regions, there are different sub-tribes. So like I said, there are at least 250 tribes in Nigeria. Very
Hey, you
interesting.
said none of them have anything in common? Is that what you just said?
Nothing in common, really.
Really?
So that's one of the challenges
That's
that
a
we
huge
face
challenge.
in Nigeria,
Yeah.
that you have so much diversity
Right.
that the British just lump everybody together, to live together as a country. So one of the things that we try to figure out in Nigeria is try to, like you would expect, understand one another and try to form a common ground.
Does that have an impact on the government and the oversight, I would think?
Absolutely. So, we've had our own share of military rules in Nigeria. So when the British were leaving, they kind of trusted power to the Northerners, the people from the North. And the majority of them were in the military. So there's always a power
Military control.
diversity
Yeah.
in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So everybody wants a share of what is going on. Unlike what you have in the United States, people think about what you can offer, not whether you are from Florida, New Jersey, or New
Right.
York. But one of the challenges we face in Nigeria is people are interested in, oh yeah, my region has to be able to do this. And it's so complicated, but the wealth of the country, the crude oil, is from the South, you know. So it's a very challenging situation.
Sounds
Yeah.
like it.
It is. It
Challenging
is.
to govern.
Yeah.
Sounds like, yeah.
Yeah.
So do us a favor? Let's talk about you, and you're an internal medicine doctor,
Right.
and you're here in Florida, and you've been in the go all the way back
Okay.
to childhood, and let's because this podcast is about wealth creation, and
Sure.
it's about how we grow our financial self.
Absolutely.
You coming from Nigeria all the way to the United States and becoming a very successful doctor, and among other things. So go ahead. Let's hear it.
So I grew up in Nigeria, went to med school. I went to some people may not agree, but I went to the best med school in Nigeria, the first one at that, University of Ibadan.
And you mentioned that area of Nigeria, there's a big focus on education. Is that what you said?
Absolutely.
And is that kind of
from the Southwest.
Yeah.
So I went to University of Ibadan, the med school there. It used to be under the British University of London. So actually, our teaching hospital is called the University UCH. That was part of University College Hospital, London. Actually, so I graduated 35 years ago in 1990. My parents. So in Nigeria, there's nothing like student loan financial aid. So it's either your parents or your family could send you to school, or you don't go to school.
Right.
So I come from a low socioeconomic background, So my parents, because of their very much interest in education, insisted that all of us should go to school, right? So my parents, to answer Ben questions, send me to school. They pay my way through school.
Yeah. And there's no way to take a loan. So they saved up.
There were no loans.
Yeah.
So there were no loans. Yeah. There were no student loan. There were no financial aid. So if you really want to go to school, your parents or your family members have to do everything they can do to send you to school.
And what did your parents do to be able to afford to send you to school?
My mom was just a patient trader, but very smart lady. So what she did actually, she was selling palm oil, but on a large scale. This is what she did. So off season, she will give money out to these people that make this palm oil. So give you an example, maybe the price at that time, because it was off season, is $10 per barrel. So she will already lock in that price. At the time they now give her the palm oil, she'll probably be selling for $50, $60 per barrel. Nice. That's how she did that for a long time. And she got that from my late grandmother, my father's mother. She was very close to her mother-in-law. So that's how she got
learned that skill from her.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nice.
And my father was doing automobile sales. That's one of the...
Well, it sounds like they lived on the East. It sounds like they were business people, right?
Yeah, she kind of combined that. So I learned how to sell cars since I was 17.
Really?
I will return
Ben has
from high
a car
school.
to sell right now that you could probably help him with.
Yes,
I will. Alex just sold me a car without a good battery.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's a whole.
Well, that was because I'm from the East and he's from the West. He was educated but didn't know business, so I was.
So I work in my father auto shop for free. I would sell cars. I would do the paperwork, and that's where I learned what they call financing. Now we call it hire purchase in Nigeria. So what my dad would do is he would sell car to people. Of course, there will be a contract. There will be interest on it. He will take picture of the person buying the car, and then, of course, he will hold the second key. If they default, he was empowered to go repossess the car.
Wow.
Similar to what people do here. But at that time, it didn't make sense to me what he was doing. So I did that growing up.
Nice. So what was the interest rate that was charged? Do you recall?
Honestly, I can't remember, but it could be as high as 20%, 15%.
Really? Okay.
Very lucrative business.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was very successful.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. So your parents paid for medical school.
Sounds like they were business people that
They
did
were
very
business people
well.
from the
Yeah.
East, but they
Yeah.
lived in the West.
Yeah, that's right.
How much was medical school when you went? Do you remember?
It was nothing compared to what we have here. One thing for sure, our dormitory where we live was nothing compared to what we have here. I have my son live in a old apartment that costs about $1,100 every month. I live in a room where we're like officially 4 people in a room, but everybody will have a friend stay with him. So you can imagine. So to answer your question, it's a little bit difficult. It's been a long time. At that time, I was paying like 90 naira for my bed space, which is less than $1 now, believe it or not. So but for Nigerians, it is still very expensive, even as of today. Okay, because the way you have to look at it is you have to look at what people are making and look at their expenses. So sending any child to med school in Nigeria today is still very expensive.
Yeah, I bet.
It was expensive then. It's still expensive today.
Yeah. And order of magnitude, is that quite a bit higher? So compare it to a U.S. market here.
So if you look at med school, so let me use my situation for example. When I was in pre-med, I did not have enough money to buy textbook. So what I did then was my roommate, who unfortunately now is deceased, I told Ben his story. He had the textbooks. Then I would look at his timetable. And so, for example, when he was studying anatomy, I would be studying physiology, so I could use his book.
Nice.
That was one of the ways I devised to survive med school.
Right.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So when I was telling my son, for example, that I didn't own a computer until I came to the US at the age of 33, he couldn't even comprehend what I was talking about.
Right.
When I told him I was taught with my teacher using chalk, on the board, even in med school, I was like, "Oh, Daddy, you're kidding me." No, I said, "No, I'm not kidding you." So it was kind of very difficult for him to comprehend or relate to or relate with what I was talking about.
Right.
So yeah.
Now you have to, that certification or that degree that you got doesn't translate to the US. So you have to, right? Or
so the way it works is, even for American citizens, if you go to med school outside US or Puerto Rico, you are considered international medical graduate. What does that mean? If you need to practice in the United States, you need to take the United States licensing medical exams. So I had to go through all that when I came here.
But didn't have to do school here, just had to go through the exam process.
So the way it works here is you have to go through residency here before you could practice medicine. Unlike most other developing country, because of the need, as soon as you graduate from med school, you can decide what you want to do, whether you want to pursue postgraduate training or you want to go into general practice or whatever you want to do. So there's a pathway to be able to do that. So when I came here, I had to pass all those exams and be able to get into residency, complete residency, 3 years for internal medicine before I could practice medicine here legally.
Nice. I assume you want to go back farther than that, right? Before med school?
Well, no, I think fundamentally, were you a good student?
I will consider myself to be the top 2% of my class when I was in med school. Yeah.
So that's a yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you always want to be a doctor?
Absolutely. So the story of me going to med school is very interesting. Like I was very good in maths and everybody wanted me to be either an engineer, a computer, whatever. But when I was 12, my late grandmother, my maternal late grandmother, told me a story that was very touching to me. Both grandparents were AS, they carried the sickle cell trait. So unfortunately for them, they had 13 children. And because of lack of medical care, 11 of them died. Only my late mom.
Did you say 18 children?
13.
13 children.
11 of the 13 passed away because they had the sickle cell.
Yeah, they had 13. 11 passed. Only my late mom and my late uncle survived. So my late grandmother was telling me that story one day. We were in the farm. And then about 3 weeks after, I had malaria. Malaria is very endemic in Nigeria. My mom took me to a doctor. I didn't like the way he treated me. I didn't like his bedside manner. So I told my mom at that point I was going to go to med school and just forget about all this engineering, computer stuff, and be a better doctor. So
Wow.
that was what motivated me to go to med school.
Wow. What
Yeah.
a nice start.
Cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So in order to get into med school, you have to have the ability to pay for it, but you also have to be, I would imagine, a decent student and get accepted. Is that how that works?
Absolutely. It's always been very competitive to get to med school. Very competitive. So when I sat for the entrance exam, something close to your SAT here, so we have a body called JAM, Joint Admission Matriculation Board. I actually got 315. I came fourth in the country, in the entire country.
It's amazing.
In my med school, I came first. Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
And did you go to that school with the thought that you were going to remain in Nigeria, or had you always anticipated migrating away from Nigeria?
No, I never wanted to leave Nigeria. As a matter of fact, so we graduated in 1990. A lot of my friends migrated to wherever they want to be. So I work in Nigeria doing all kind of stuff, medical research. I work in military hospital setting as a civilian doctor. I did all kind of stuff, general practice. So I never really wanted to leave. I wanted to just stay in Nigeria and take care of people there because that was one of the things I wanted to do. Something happened in 1997, a year before I left. A very poor child brought by his mom, I remember like yesterday, was brought to the hospital where I was working. So to say this, most of the hospitals in Nigeria are privately owned. They run
And
it
if I
like.
can ask, how old were you at this point?
So 1990, I will be 24.
Okay. Yeah.
When I graduated.
Yeah.
So 7 years after, I will be 31. Yeah.
Okay.
So this child came in, they didn't have money. And so the owner of the hospital had a policy that if they cannot pay, don't admit them. And I knew this boy was going to go home and die. So I guaranteed the admission. And so because they couldn't pay, they ran away. They just escaped from the hospital. And the owner of the hospital deducted their medical expenses from my salary.
Wow.
So I was left with less than 10% of my salary. So I talked to myself, I love what I do, and I could not continue working this way. So it was the first time it ever occurred to me to think about migrating somewhere else. And so that's how the story of coming to the US started.
That's amazing. And what was your process to determine where you would go, what you would do? Did you have any guidance? Did you have any mentors? Did you know anybody in the States?
So I stayed with my cousin when I came, but he was into computer science. So we grew up together in Nigeria, but he came here first. But
Okay.
he was in computer science. So how to navigate? So I came in and then I had to enroll to do my master's. From my master's, I sat for these exams I talked to you about. There were 4 stages. We called it step 1, which was about the basic medical sciences. The step 2 is about the clinical sciences. And then at that time, they don't do it right now. We used to have what they call the clinical skill exam. What they did was to simulate a clinical condition. The only center at that time was Philadelphia. So you had to travel to Philadelphia. Then you would do the step 3. So I passed all these 4 stages in 9 months because I didn't have a choice. And then so I got accepted into residency program.
Did you use your save? So you had a cousin that was over here.
Right.
I assume that you were in contact with that cousin. And so you need money and you need resources over here. How did you make it here?
Yeah. When I tell people my story, it's kind of very interesting. So I stayed with one of my friends. So I had a lot of friends, classmates from med school that already made up their mind. They were going to come to the US.
Yeah.
So I stayed with one of my friends in New York.
Okay.
He was married with a child. He had a 1-bedroom apartment. So I was living or staying on his sofa in the living room. And then I got a job in New Jersey to work in a lab, okay, while I was trying to take all these exams. And so I had money then, but somehow I gave my money away to somebody that I thought needed it. But when I needed this money for my exams, I couldn't get it. So I had to struggle a lot. In fact, I remember a day I wanted to mail a letter to a friend of mine to send me some money. I didn't have enough money to post that letter, believe it or not.
Wow.
Postage was 29 cents. I cannot had like 24 cents. I was living with a friend of mine in Connecticut. I walked from his house to the post office. I got there in the snow. I explained to the guy, look, this was my situation. I needed to mail this letter. I didn't have enough money. The man refused. So I walked back. I was unable to still mail the letter. The story is this. If you make up your mind what you want to do, it does not matter what the challenges are. You will always be successful. So it was tough. So imagine somebody so poor you couldn't mail a letter.
Wow.
And I had to study. So I saw a lot of my classmates that came here before me. And I knew how successful they were. And I knew the only thing that was standing between me and me in getting to their level was me passing my exams, being able to get into residency. And that was exactly what I did. And I could not tell my parents at home. Because if they knew about what I was going through, they're going to ask me to get back on the next plane and come back to
So you
Nigeria.
had to do it on your own
I didn't want to do that. So I didn't tell them.
Yeah.
I didn't tell them.
So we often say that less successful people only see the obstacles that are in their way, and successful people that get to that success only see the end goal. It sounds like that was true for you.
Absolutely.
All you were focused on is
I was focused.
Yeah.
I was focused.
How did you get the extra 4 cents to mail your
5 cents.
5 cents? Was it 24 versus
You were
20?
24, right?
I thought he said 29 cents is what he knew.
Right.
Oh, 5 cents. You're right. Yeah.
So
we'll do the math portion, right?
Somehow,
Yeah.
so I didn't get to mail the letter.
Yeah.
So somehow, I think the guy called me in a miraculous way. The guy I was going to mail that letter to called me through a friend. I didn't have a cell phone then, obviously. Right. And then he was able to send me some money on loan, which I pay later. Yeah.
So he sent you a nickel or?
Some money.
Yeah, nice. That's great.
Some money.
Yeah. So you found a way, in other words,
I
right?
found a way. I was helped because anybody, no matter who you are, you need somebody.
For sure.
It's good lesson.
Yeah.
So I had good friends that we grew up together. We went to med school together. We had studied together, and they were always there to assist.
That's
Very,
fantastic.
very, very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
There are folks that often talk about the way the U.S. military functions and how it's most important. The people that really succeed are people that know how to help the person next to them.
Absolutely.
And know how to ask for help.
Yeah.
And that's the key to their success at the highest levels.
Yeah.
In the most important positions, that's the most important trait. It sounds like you had that trait.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So going to residency, did 3 years. The internship was brutal. I mean, it was when we were working 72 hours nonstop in New York.
Which I don't think you could do anymore today, right?
No, they actually outlawed
I think
that.
they
made it illegal because something happened to a patient when I was in New York. There's something called the Bell Commission. All right. So the family of a top guy died because the resident that was taking care of that patient was overworked.
Yeah.
So then in my third year, you will be sent home after 24 hours of call.
Right.
Yeah. So they outlawed it.
But I think it's even more. I think it's even worse now, right? It's more restrictive now.
I'm not really in touch with what is going on right now. So I don't know. But I knew they stopped the 72 hours non-stop call.
Yeah, because I've talked to surgeons that say the same thing. Right. When I was going through school,
12 hours now.
Yeah. I think it is 12
It could
hours.
be.
Yeah.
It could be.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And so 72 hours
72 hours non-stop.
Without sleep.
Exhausted.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine that?
No. I work 7 hours.
Yeah.
And I take a nap.
Imagine you have a doctor, you're like, okay, are you on your first hour or your 70th hour? I want the person that just got here. Wow.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you were in residence. So how long was residency for you?
Residency was 3 years.
Okay.
So from 2000. So
where was your residency? Where did you do?
New York.
New York. Okay.
New York.
So the whole time you were in New York.
New York. Yes. Yeah.
New York City.
New York City. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I completed the residency, and then I visited with one of my friends in Florida. I kind of hated New York. It's just too cold, too chaotic.
Yeah.
So I like Florida, and
nice.
I made up my mind I was going to come to Florida. So I started with Orange Park. I worked in Orange Park Medical Center for 1 year. It was brutal. Yeah, I mean, I was working like 16 hours. And then somebody told me that, you could start your own business. I'm like, okay. So I resigned after 1 year. It was just too much.
Right.
So without having a job, I joined Baptist Health System as working in the emergency room initially. And then I was also doing what I'm doing right now in our other hospital in Nassau County, the one that is close to the
Okay.
airport.
Yeah.
And so I did that for about 2 years. And somebody said, you could start your own practice. So I started my own practice, Olufisayo, Arubuola, MDP, which is mainly inpatient patient care. So I've really enjoyed it.
And that's still your practice today.
That's still what I do.
And what year was that you started your practice?
So I incorporated my practice in 2005, 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Wow. And how did the economics change for you? Because I would assume that you did it both from a schedule perspective, from a control perspective, but also from a financial perspective.
So right now, like I was telling Ben, when we're talking about 6 months ago, the insurance probably wants doctor to work for free. Is so interesting that except you really love this profession, there are not enough incentives to continue to work as a doctor. And it's so bad that before you get paid, they expect you to make photocopies of the patient's progress note as proof that you actually see the patient. It's just
because of fraud. I would imagine a lot of fraud, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
this is third-party administrators that are forcing you to do it?
absolutely.
Yeah, the TPAs.
Yeah, it's so much paperwork. It's just a lot to do.
Right.
You have to see patient, obviously. You have to spend a lot of time on the computer trying to chat all that. Yeah, a lot of
And you have to
people.
chase after your money because the patient,
Absolutely.
you're somebody else is paying for the patient, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's a weird system.
It's a weird system. You spend so much money with your billing company. It's just a lot. But if you love the profession, you will still continue to do it. Yeah.
Okay. And I would assume that given your level of success, you found other ways to either utilize the disposable cash that you were making to invest, or do you have other businesses that you're in?
So I ate poverty because I grew up being poor. So I told myself, even before I came here, that me and poverty, there's got to be a divorce. We cannot go along.
I like that. You're breaking up with poverty.
I
Yes.
hated poverty.
Yeah.
Even before I met Ben, I've always thought of what I could do. So I've tried a little bit of investment. So what I did was to think about my retirement account. So I believe in, the 70, 20, 10 or 80, 10, 10, meaning don't spend more than 70% or 80% or whatever you're making. Learn to save 10% or 20% and then invest 10%. So I've always been that. I'm a very simple person, even though my kids may not agree. I don't believe in wasting money. I'm very prudent with my money. I don't buy things I don't need. For example, I have a lot of friends, my colleagues at work. They tell me they have a boat. I'm like, well, I don't know how to fish to start with. And if I need one, I'll go rent one. I'm not going to buy one.
Sounds like
I'll be
me.
paying.
Yeah.
So I like to be very practical. I'm very modest. My home is the home of an average American. I don't believe in trying to do things that's going to make my life miserable. So I learn to be very prudent with what I make. That's number one.
Right.
So I've also dealt with some real estate. One thing I realized was med school did not teach us anything about finance.
Of course.
Zero in our curriculum. So even before I met Ben, I've been reading a lot of books on financing, investment. And so when I got this advertisement that Ben was going to have a seminar, as he told me, I was the first person that registered. So my quest for
He was our first registrar. Interesting.
My
Yeah,
quest for
that's
Like,
financial
cool, a
knowledge.
doctor.
Yeah.
My
wow.
first
So
first
I
one.
just-
Good pull, Ben. Good pull.
I mean, the first thing I
But he
realized.
showed up last. I just want to point out.
well, he was
showed
probably working. Right?
What? He was
probably
working.
Yeah, I was coming
He-
from work.
He was
You were
coming
on-
right
you
from
were on
work.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was coming
Yeah.
from work.
Yeah.
So I saw this seminar. So first of all, I realized I had zero or very little knowledge in finance. So the first thing is you have to make a diagnosis and be real with yourself. You don't know what you don't know. Just accept it and try to get better. Unlike somebody trying to deflect and give excuse. So I knew I knew what I didn't know. I knew what I knew. So I was just very thirsty for knowledge. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So it sounds like you were able to learn about. You were always prudent with money, so you kept your expenses reasonable.
Absolutely.
You always kept your expenses below the income that you had,
Absolutely.
and you used the delta between your expenses and your income, your disposable income, to invest.
Absolutely.
And would you say that growing those investments have created your net worth today, or mostly your income has created your net worth?
A combination of both.
Yeah.
A combination of both. Talking about that really. So Ben actually gave me his book From Worry to Wealth, and I read it twice. I like to read book once initially to get kind of overview of what the book is all
Yeah,
about.
most people only read about the first couple of pages, right, Ben? So he read the whole
Most people
book.
don't even read.
Yeah, that's right. So this is the very excellent work.
Yeah, and if you look at Ben's book, if it could be a few months ago, I was telling him that I'd form an acronym for all the things, or most of the things he was talking about. So I call it TAIL, TAIL. T for
TAIL?
time,
Yep.
A for asset, I for income, and L for leverage.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to put all these
Excellent
things
work.
together,
Yeah.
actually, to be able to maximize what I do. I still want to learn. He knows my quest
Yeah.
for knowledge. Yeah,
That's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So that
Yeah.
book helps you out quite a bit.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And your investments mostly on the
I
real
swear I
estate
had
side?
nothing to do with that plug. I
Yeah,
swear.
exactly.
I know you don't
And he
believe
read the
it,
book
but
twice, like unlike some people. So was that a major? It sounds like that was a major part of your educational process in investing. Was the book, and did you what for those listening that want to apply the same level of effort?
Right.
What challenges did you run into during that process? What advice would you have for somebody reading this book that's in a similar situation that wants to get to your level?
First of all, a lot of people read and get this knowledge and they don't translate that into practice. So people just know things and they just know and they are not really implementing what they have learned. So when I read books, including this one, I always make notes. And sometimes I will test him and talk about what I read in his book, and we talk about that. So one of the challenges I believe a lot of people will run to is number one, they don't know what they don't know. Number two would be they cannot seek knowledge. Number three would be problem with trust, because if you're successful today, you probably will have lost money. Most people have gone through that. If you're not prepared to lose money, you can't be a businessman. You can't take risk. In fact, I saw a quote somewhere that taking risk is about you have diarrhea and you are able to also take the risk of fat. I mean, that's a good definition of risk taking.
Is that in the book, Ben? I don't remember
I
that.
swear that's not a reference from my
page.
book.
Okay,
But
so
that's-
passing gas, you say you have the risk of pay. Yeah.
So you have diarrhea,
Yeah.
but then you still need to pass gas.
No, I've had diarrhea, but
So
Ben
yeah,
has had
so
diarrhea.
you're
too.
able to take
Yeah.
that risk.
Yeah.
So
Oh, boy.
in business, if you're not
That's right.
prepared to
That is-
lose money,
that's
you
priceless.
are never gonna probably be successful.
We need to try to incorporate that into one of our lessons, Ben. I think there's a lesson
Oh,
here.
boy. Yeah.
And what would you take for that? Would you take an Imodium or as a medical doctor?
Well, there are a lot of stuff. Imodium,
Yeah.
Oh,
will be one
boy.
of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can give you an honorary degree
Yeah, maybe
in medicine.
if we give the lesson,
Oh,
we could
Fisayo,
have.
I did not
we could-
expect that.
we could have- we could have-
Uh-huh.
we could
That's
have that
great.
as part of the lesson
Oh,
as
boy.
well, just
Right.
in case they do. Yes, but it's a great analogy.
It is.
I like it. It's a memorable analogy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
A lot of people will have temporary defeat and give up. You
Yeah.
see, a temporary defeat is not the same as a permanent failure.
True.
Everybody I have studied the autobiography of a lot of people. Look at Thomas Edison. We have his light right now. This
Right.
guy failed
a
about
ton.
10,000 times.
Yes.
So again, when you are doing something and you're not getting the desired results, don't give up. You just need to go back and read
Right.
and look at what you can do better. And that's the only way you can make it in whatever you choose to do, whether it is in medicine, real estate, it doesn't matter. There will be challenges. Challenges are like friction. Without the law of gravity, you and I will not be here today. We'll be floating.
Mhm.
So there will be friction. There will be restriction. There will be challenges. So our goal is to keep going Stay focused. And of course, you cannot be alone. Look for help. If you are the smartest person in your group, you are in the wrong group. You have to have people that you look onto.
I'm out of here.
People that you don't know, you can ask.
Right.
Don't feel too big to ask questions.
Right.
And that's what I tell people that work with me.
That's a fear. That's a fear. It's an insecurity, right? That people have. Right.
Talked about that yesterday.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think
Humility.
Ego.
being
Sometimes
humble.
ego creates a
I think
problem.
it's a
where,
sign
yeah,
of strength to let people know that I don't know this area.
I agree with that. I completely
And
agree
people
with
will
that.
tell you.
It's also disarming for others, right? Where they start
Absolutely.
to open up
In
and try to
my
help you.
job, if you make a mistake, it could be very costly.
For sure.
And so when you don't know, don't guess. Ask somebody.
Yeah,
that
that's
knows.
a good point.
Right.
You see that in your practice where people don't know and they make mistakes?
Oh, people make mistakes all the time.
Yeah.
And of course, it's very costly.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
It's very costly.
Yeah.
So we're talking about somebody's life.
Of course.
That's why it's very important in my line of job. In fact, in our med school, they did something that is very drastic. When we have multiple exams, if you miss a question, they believe you guess. If you leave it, you don't get penalized. There's something they call negative marking. It's to train us not to guess when you don't know.
Right.
So you can imagine, Alex, you get 70% and you miss 30. In my med school, they will remove the 30 from the 70 you got. So you end up with 40%. But if you leave those 40, the 30 blank, like you're not sure,
A negative
that is when
impact.
you ask for help,
Right.
then you still maintain your 70%.
Wow.
So guessing in my job could be very costly.
Wow.
So when you don't know, ask somebody.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So lessons here are: don't give up.
Don't give up.
Have a bottle of Imodium ready.
Right?
Don't have no fear.
To be practical.
Right. To be practical.
Okay.
Well, I'm just trying to be practical today.
To be
You're a
practical.
medical
It's an
doctor. I'm trying to
important
get some medical
lesson.
advice.
Yes, that's a good takeaway.
Yeah. So don't give up.
Mhm.
Don't be too fearful. Have your bottle of Imodium at the ready to take risk.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And at the same time that you're not giving up and that you're taking risk, right? If you need help, ask for help.
Ask for help.
And
There's
those are the
always help.
lessons that we could draw from
There's
your.
always somebody
from your
there to help.
That's
Always.
great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Ben.
Dr. Fisayo, any other final words of wisdom? Your stories, especially the ones about the diarrhea, I think really hit home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For some of us.
24 cents walking in the snow to the post office. I mean, these are great things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any other? I'll let you have the final word before we sign off. What is the? Alex kind of summarized it. Besides the
Any final notes that you want the viewers to? Yeah.
The thing about this country is, you see, if you are born in America, you are used to what America is all about. But for some of us that migrated from other countries, this is a great country. I don't care what people say about America. This is a land of opportunities. You could come from anywhere and nobody like me, and you can become who you want to be by being focused, hardworking, and of course, believing in God. This is a land that will give you opportunities. If you are ready to grab, you will be successful.
It's a great lesson for all of us that are born here, because we don't have the same perspective, right?
Absolutely.
And I've heard that. I can't tell you the number of people that have echoed those words to me over time, where I've complained about our political environment or our lack of education in a certain area. Every single person that is not from the United States has told me, I know these are problems, but they're so much better than everything else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Imagine a student that had no access to student loan, financial aid.
For sure.
Here you can take loan,
Yeah.
which of course you should pay back.
Land of opportunity.
But then you have an opportunity to even
Right.
exercise your talents.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Great perspective.
Maybe we should all just all of the young people in our country should go to another country, live there for a
have some
while,
perspective.
experience it, and
Yeah,
then
for
come
sure.
back with the right perspective.
Absolutely.
And be grateful.
Yeah.
I have a niece that grew up here, went to Costa Rica for 3 months of externship. When she came back, she became a different
She was a
person.
different person, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
amazing. Good lesson.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you being here. Alex, any final thoughts for the podcast with Mr.
No, I think I've given you. I'm just gonna. Where do you get to? The best place to buy Imodium is probably at the local, maybe Walmart.
Walgreens, anywhere.
Walgreens. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the
So
only
we're
thing.
gonna have to refine that analogy that
right.
Fisayo, Dr. Fisayo
Yeah.
used, and
Yeah.
we'll have to figure out how to work that into this
Call
podcast.
it the Breaking Wind episode.
The Breaking Wind episode.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, you heard it here. That's maybe the title of this episode, the Breaking Wind episode.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off. Dr. Fisayo, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
being
so much
with us.
for
Thank
being
you
here.
for
We
having
really
me.
appreciate it.
It's a
We'll have
pleasure.
him on. He can talk more about the Imodium.
Yeah, maybe some medical advice next
The
time.
medical advice.
Yes.
Yeah, medical advice. That's good.
To in an effort to put the wind at your back. That's what we're doing.
That's
right?
great.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, we're going to sign off. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you in the next episode.